So welcome to the third and final class for our Nahjul Balagha course. So just like always, we're going to start with a few reminders to please not put any personal information, not make fun of the responses of others, and once the discussion starts, to make everything relate to the session we're having. So just a quick recap from what we talked about in the last class. In the last class, we talked about how in any situation in which there is design, there is someone that is intelligent and conscious and capable of what is being designed. We also were able to look at the hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam when he said, I have not seen anything without seeing Allah with it and before it and after it. So during the week, did anyone get an opportunity to reflect on any creation of Allah and really implement the hadith the way we talked about last week, even within the stories that we talked about with the egg that we did and both of the stories that they like to share with everyone? For those of you that haven't also checked on the Academy of Learning Islam website, there's also a reflection sheet where you can also write down the different creations that you reflected on, and it'll really help you to be able to create that strong connection and appreciation for everything Allah has given us. So to start off, I'm going to start off with a story that relates to the hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Now we can really make sure Allah is the center of our lives. So the story begins with a student was sitting with his grandpa in the garden. He said, I'm getting excellent grades and my tutors can see a great future for me. Yet I am miserable. A happy and wholesome life is like a perfect circle, replied his grandpa, picking up a stone and a twig. He placed the stone on the ground and using the twig as a compass, he drew a perfect circle with the stones as its center. When you have a fixed and steady center, then your circle will be perfect. The grandfather said, however, if the center is constantly changing, you will never be able to draw a circle. Today, many people receive a good education and establish successful careers, but never establish a spiritual center around which their life's actions orbit. When you establish your center, my son, it is clear and all else will follow. What are some thoughts that come to everyone's mind when you reflect on this story? Be good, center of your life, of your soul. Very good answer, Sumaya. Excellent. Very good. Good answers coming up. The story means to always remember Allah in everything you do. Very good answer. Excellent. This is to make Allah the center of your life and make it stabilized. And spiritually, you'll be stable because Allah is there with you. Excellent job, Insia. Also, very good answer. Whatever you do think, if Allah will be happy with it, very good. That is very important for us to consider. Excellent job. Those are very good answers that everyone is writing. Let's continue. So and we also have another response. If you make love the center of your life, then spirituality, you will be safe because Allah is with you. Excellent. Alia, that's taqwa. Excellent, Malika. So just like always, how we have some words of wisdom from Nahjul Balagha, today we are going to look at some words of wisdom that are in Hadith 35. And in Hadith 35, it states, if someone is quick in saying about people what they dislike, they speak about him that about which they have no knowledge. We think about this hadith, you can really think about if ever in our life, sometimes we're quick to judge others and tell them what we don't like about them. We really need to think about is how that really reflects on our character and that how we do not have knowledge about that person. This hadith really gets us to reflect on our own actions, to make sure we reflect on the way we talk about others. Someone just says what they do not like without knowing it properly. Excellent, Sumaya. Very good. That's correct. These are beautiful hadiths, and I would really encourage you, even after the course is done, to maybe take some time to maybe look at the different hadiths in Nahjul Balagha, maybe the same way we take one hadith every week and look at it. Maybe even if you want to continue doing that, that would be a great habit, and that will really help you to be able to grow spiritually as well. We just assume things out of people. If you look at someone and say, oh, they're ugly, but how do they know if they're ugly on the inside? We have to get to know people, respect people. Excellent job, very good response. Don't say what you think right away. Think then speak. Very good. Excellent responses. Very good. So today in the excerpt we're going to be looking at focusing on the creation of the earth. So within the excerpt from Khutbah 91 dealing with this, it states, Allah spread the earth on stormy and tremendous waves and the depths of swollen seas, where waves clashed with each other and high surges leapt over one another. The turmoils of the stormy water was subdued by the weight of the earth. When the earth pressed it with its chest, its shooting dictated ease. And when the earth rolled on it with its shoulder bones, the water meekly submitted. What are some thoughts that come, especially those of you who have maybe been on a beach and you've seen waves? What are some thoughts that come and if we look at the way this is being described in Nahjul Balagha? Right, it is amazing, especially the beautiful words that Imam Ali used to describe it in this khutbah. It is all what Allah made, that's right. There is life, that's right, and it gives life to so many different creations, very good. And look at the beauty in the description, even the words being used. So now why don't we have another story? So now that we looked at the waves, why don't we look at a story dealing with the world is an egg? Let's see, I see another good answer coming. Water helped build this earth, but not only does it provide us with water, it's so beautiful. Look at the design, water, the storminess and everything. That's right, there is so much beauty if we reflect on the wonders of water, the way it is, how it gives life to so many creations, the design, the different forms. It's really amazing. That's right. It was so easy for Allah, that's right. Because Allah is one of the best creators of all these wonderful things. So in this story, the world is an egg. I'm going to say it, and then we're going to reflect on some key details. It's a really nice story where there was a man by the name of Hisham ibn Akam that was a companion of Imam Jafar Sadiq, peace be upon him. One day, there was a famous learned atheist who did not believe in Allah. Abdullah Disani asked him, do you believe in a creator? Yes, replied Hisham. He has power over all things. He is all powerful, said Hisham. Can you put the whole world in an egg in such a way that neither the egg becomes bigger nor the world smaller? Does anyone want to guess what the reply was? Do you think that would be possible for him to do? Or to reply a question where it says, if he can put the whole world in an egg in such a way that neither the egg becomes bigger nor the world smaller. Those of you that might have heard it before. What are your guesses on what the reply would be from Hisham? Any guesses? Think he's going to say, no, that's not possible? Or do you think he's going to say that is possible for him to do? So Hisham replied, give me some time to answer. You have 1 year to answer, said Abdullah Disani. Hisham decided to go on a journey to meet Imam Jafar Sadiq, peace be upon him. O son of the Prophet, Abdullah Disani has asked me a question and I am not able to answer him. Imam asked, what is the question? What is the question that he is asking? Hisham gave the details of the question. Imam replied, and before we go into the reply of the Imam, let's see what guesses we have. I think it is possible because Allah can do everything. Very good. Who needs that? Let's see what the response of the Imam was. The response of the Imam was, "O Hisham, how many physical senses do you have?" 5, replied Hisham. Which is the smallest of them? My eye. What is the size of the lens of your eyes? It is just like a lentil, or even smaller than that. Imam continued, look around and above you and tell me what you see. I see the sky, the earth, houses, forests, hills, and rivers. He who is capable of putting all these things which you are seeing in a very small lentil or less than that can also put the whole world in an egg, such that neither the world becomes smaller nor the egg bigger. Think about how wonderful that response of the Imam was and how he was able to show him how that can be done. Beautiful if we take a look at the way Imam was able to describe it and how it reflects on how it works. One lesson of the story is to never doubt the Prophet of Allah. The second lesson, just to change the perspective of the way you think about things. First, this man did not know about if you can fit the world in an egg, but once this man looked outside, he realized how much you can see with your eyes. Very good response. Yeah, excellent. If you think about the story, it really will help us to be able to reflect on more of the creations. If we think about looking at how much wonder there is in all the creation and how sometimes it can blow our mind and how amazing it really is. Let's continue. So the next part of this excerpt that we are going to be looking at, and this story, what you can do is you can actually find the story that we just had from Q Fatima website. In this website, they have a section for kids where they have excellent stories. And in that section, if you go into the PDF, there's actually a story with this title where you can access this story from. So in Q Fatima, a section called Excellent Stories, and it's one of the stories in that book that they have, if you'd like to go back and read the story. So the next part of the excerpt that we're going to be looking at states, when the excitement of water subsided under the earth's sides and under the weight of the high and lofty mountains placed on its shoulders, Allah flowed springs of water from its high tops and disrupted them through plains and low places and moderated their movement by fixed rocks and high top mountains. So you can see even this part of the Qutbah is beautiful in the way Imam Ali is describing the water and how it interacts with different surfaces on the earth, such as the high tops of the mountain, which is really wonderful. Any other thoughts or points that people get when they look at this part of the Qutbah? So this shows Allah nature that water is Water got to the mountains and went all through it. Excellent. Very good. Anyone else want to share their thoughts on what they get from this part of the khutbah? Yeah. Now, if we look at that part that we just look at, we can also look at it. It's very similar to a section in Khutbah 185 in Nahjul Balagha. And in this section, it states, in the Khutbah 185, it states, He created the earth and suspended it, retained it without support, made it stand without legs, and raised it without pillars. You see, this is a beautiful way, and the earth is even being described, how it's been suspended, how it doesn't need any support, and how it can actually be able to stand without any legs and then be raised up without the need of any pillars. It's really wonderful if we reflect on it. So I have some responses. Allah made waterfalls, very good. Allah made oceans and even different types of fish, very good. So now to continue looking at the beautiful way that Imam Ali is describing different things on the earth, we can see in the next part of the khutbah it states, then Allah created vastness between the earth and heaven and provided blowing wind for its inhabitants. Then He directed its inhabitants to spread all over its convenient places. Thereafter, He did not leave alone the barren tracts of the earth, where high portions lacked in water springs, and where rivers could not find their way, but created floating clouds, which live in the unproductive areas and grow vegetation. Very good. This shows Allah made the earth perfect and amazing. Very good. He made it so beautiful. He made everything without anybody and made it perfect. That's right. Beautiful the way it's even being described. And how if we look at the wonderful creation, how even areas where there wasn't much vegetation and things growing, Allah was able to create the water to have vegetation so that plants and many different living organisms on earth would be able to survive. Very good, excellent responses that are coming up. That's right. One of the things that we also need to reflect on to make sure that we do not waste the wonderful water that Allah has given us. Especially when there are people in the world that's right, do not have the clean water. Very good. And Allah made everything excellent. So if we take a look at the universe that Allah has created, if we go from the earth and we look at all the planets and everything, we can see that Allah has created the universe with a design. And there are many examples of this design in the universe that are around us. One of the ones that you may have noticed is within the sunrise and sunset. The times for this can be calculated for thousands of years in advance. This shows a sophisticated and precise design. We really think of like the sunrise and the sunset, we can think about how much calculation it really involves. Because the timings that we have for sunrise and sunset are not the same throughout the year. Which is so interesting. All of it needs specific calculations for it to be done in order for the universe to be able to function the way we currently see it. Right, I see some good responses coming up. See, created everything very good. Do this. Excellent, very good response. See from Kirunisa, excellent. So how it relates to part one in the sermons, created the sunrise and the sunset for the prayer time to design when we pray. We also make sure that different countries have different sunrises and sunsets. That's right. The same time for sunrise in one country is not the exact same time necessarily for a different country around the world. Very good. We created the sunrise and the sunset for prayer. Very good. Excellent. Responses. And then the other example we can also look at, before we do that, I see a good response. Remember that one that I read, the reading the sermon of Mohamedali, should not the earth and the universe. This universe is created in front of Ali, or Ali created this universe. Very good. That's a great connection that's being made. That's right. The sunset and the sunrise is created for prayer. Right, and it's very beautiful. Another example of the beauty in the design of the universe can also be seen in the design of the planets and other bodies in the solar system. If we think about it, everything has been arranged in a certain way such that if it was disrupted, even by a small amount, chaos would rule. For example, if the temperature were to rise by 5 degrees, or summertime were extended by a few days, or the earth was slightly closer to the sun, life would cease to exist. And if we think about it, let's say in the design of the planet, let's say there was one planet that did not follow its orbital. Think about how much chaos it would create for all the other planets in the universe, and how much our planet Earth would even be affected by this. So we think about how much design and how much planning that's involved in terms of creating this perfect universe that we have. Only somebody that is as intelligent and as aware of Allah would be able to do this. So this gives us something to really think about, the amazing design that we have within the universe around us. So based on looking at these two examples, it helps us to realize that there is a designer for this universe that is intelligent and aware of his design and capable of putting all this together. The response, yes, show how the planets are arranged is beautiful, but the temperature, just the beginning. Allah has to make sure we have gravity, and we have that. So I'll make sure that we can live on Earth. Excellent, very good response. Jahid, very good. That's right. Another beautiful design within the universe Allah has even created is in the creation of different solar eclipses that we have. Very good. That's another excellent example. What Allah has created. Now, in another next part of the khutbah, it states, He made a big cloud by collecting together small clouds. And when water collected in it, and lightning began to flash on its sides, and the flash continued under the white clouds as well as the heavy ones, he sent it raining heavily. You see the beautiful example of the rain, how it's being described by Imam Ali. This might be similar to how some of you maybe in science learn about rain, but this is beautiful in the way Imam Ali has been able to describe it. Just a few sentences capture the wonderful creation of how rain is formed. Beautiful explanation, if we can see how it involves a big cloud by collecting all the smaller clouds, and how it actually leads to raining. Beautiful life cycle of how rain goes up and down. Very good, that's right, which can be extended to the full cycle. Very good. That's right, Allah makes so much with that rain. He can create floods, thunder, lightning, and everything. That's right. So even that rain can extend in many other different ways, which is so beautiful that we can look at. Mr. Allah has to make the cloud. That's right. If we extend part of the extra and we look at how storms are created and how they are made, it ends up with darker clouds, gray, much electricity and lightning. That's right. Very good. And it can also lead to, after we have sun and rain, how it makes a rainbow. Another beautiful example. Very good. That's right. Everything works perfectly. Very good. And Mujahid is showing a link. Very good. Mujahid, is that a different story that relates to the creation of the rain that you're sharing? Or is that a link to the story that we just had in the lesson? Oh, thank you. So that's very good. So Mujahid actually shared the link to where you are able to access the story that I shared with all of you earlier in the presentation. So thank you, Mujahid. Very good. Also, it shows how sun showers first, it rains, and then it's perfectly sunny afterwards. Very good. That's right. Everything Allah made is perfect. Beautiful. If we look at the way, the knowledge that Imam Ali even had about science, which is so amazing. And this was so many years ago, when even technology was not as advanced as the way we have it. Imam Ali had all this knowledge about science and creation, which we can learn so much from. That's right. After rain, it can also make the sun come back out, which is really amazing. So if we also take a look, we can also see that there are examples within the Holy Quran that reflect on the way the earth has been described. So the first one is in verse 22 from Surah Baqarah, where it states, "Who has made the earth a resting place for you, and the sky a canopy, and has sent down water from the sky, and thereby brought forth fruits for your sustenance." Think about how beautiful that is. Let's say sometimes we take a fruit, like let's say you have an apple or something. Do we really think about where that fruit of an apple came from, how the process that it involved? So this basically starts off by saying the earth is a resting place for you, and the sky a canopy. So if anyone's ever seen a canopy and the shade, you can see how it beautifully has a bit of a shade. And then from that, how water was sent down that allowed the beautiful crops to be able to grow. So even within the fruits that we see around us, we can see how much wonder there was in having that, how much it involved the rain, the crops to be able to grow, all that beauty. And even if we take a look at a simple example like a fruit, where that came from and how much it involved in the process. That's right, the earth has to be sustained for humans to live on. The houses, the trees, the sky. It's hard to imagine the houses in the sky made by Allah, because the earth is just, wow, that's right. So many wonderful examples that we are able to see with it. That's right, a canopy, and the way we're even able to get protection, because if you think about it, if Allah had made the world and not had a canopy or some way for even us to be protected against the UV rays of the sun, we would all not be able to live on this earth the way we are. So Allah also made this to have this nice canopy within this world for us to be able to have a better place to live on. Very good. As a life cycle that involves plants, that's right, very good. That's right, it also made this world very protected, that we could live and we could survive. Very good. So the next example is also found in Surah Baqarah, but this one is found in verse 29. In verse 29, it states, "He it is who has created for you all that is on the earth, and has applied his design to the heaven and fashioned them into 7 heavens." So you can see this amazing design in the earth. There's also amazing design that we can see within the heavens that Allah has created. So it doesn't only extend to the earth. Even within the universe, Allah has made this beautiful design extend to, which is really wonderful. Very good. Allah designed the earth for us to live comfortably. Very good. You look at within the Holy Quran, there are many ayahs that are reflecting this wonderful concept. You're so just beautiful, and what about the be magnificent? That's right. If we're just describing the earth and how much beauty there is, we can only imagine what the heavens would be like. That's why we really want to make sure we try to be the best Muslims possible to be able to go to this heaven, because we can only imagine how wonderful that experience is and how much beauty there will be in that. Now within the next part of the khutbah, it's also really beautiful where it states, when the cloud prostrated itself on the ground and delivered all the water it carried on itself, Allah grew vegetation on the plain earth and herbage on dry mountains. As a result, the earth felt pleased at being decorated with its gardens and wondered at her dress of soft vegetation and the ornaments of its blossoms. Allah made all this the means of sustenance for the people and food for the beasts. He has opened up highways in its expanse and has established minarets of guidance for those who tread on its highways. Isn't that beautiful the way Imam Ali is describing in terms of the eloquence of the language? Because if we think about it, Imam Ali is really able to help us to be able to paint a beautiful picture in our minds. The language that he uses, such beauty that he has, such as decorated with its gardens and wondered at her dress of soft vegetation. You can see how it's beautiful, the example of how Imam Ali uses like a dress, something that we can all visualize and picture in our minds to be able to describe this beauty in the nature. That's right, Allah did all of this for people, even though He knows that we will sin and make mistakes on this. Very good, wonderful for our luxury. He does all of this. That's right, excellent. Very good. Allah made rain for vegetables. Very good. So beautiful in the way it's being described here. If you really think about it, even in the way that Imam Ali uses it, opened up highways in its expanse. If you all picture highways, how they're very fast pathways, you can think about how this is being done, especially how much guidance is also within He has given us in the creation. So now there's a challenge question for all of you. Based on the way Allah has created the universe, for most places around the world and in the different countries, what is your guess that you have on the maximum number of hours in a day or the maximum number of hours a night can last? If you want to, who would like to guess? Okay, so you have a guess of 14 hours. Anyone else have any other guesses? We have 17 hours. Very good. 12 or 13 hours. We have a guess of 15, 14. 24 might be a little bit high. So it might be a little bit lower. I'll give you a hint. Those that are under 20 are quite close. And then one thing which you may find interesting is actually the place where we're going to be able to find the answer to this question. It is a source that we have looked at before. We have guesses of 18, 16, 19, 18. Good guesses that people are giving. 18. So far, a popular response that I see is 18 hours that people seem to be suggesting, which is interesting. We have Nahjul Balagha. Close where we're going to find this answer is actually not in Nahjul, but it's not going to be from the Nahjul sessions that we're going to look at. It's actually from a different source that I'd introduced to you last week. If you remember, last week I'd also introduced you a different source that we looked at that was from the wonders from a different Imam that we looked at, where I gave you the link from Al-Islam. Those of you that remember, you might be able to figure out what the source is that we're going to be able to find the answer to this question that we have. All right, you can Google, but this one you're going to get the truth. So, excellent, Salma, you got it. Lisa Mufaddal is where we're going to find the answer. Very good. So let's take a look and reveal what the answer to this question is according to Hadith and Mufaddal. Let's see what it says. So within Hadith and Mufaddal, it says that the days or the nights do not exceed 15 hours. So let's take a look now at the explanation to see what the Imam gives us on why it cannot exceed 15 hours and what would happen if it did exceed these 15 hours. It's beautiful in the way we see the Imam is describing. So within the description that the Imam gives us, he states, do you know that if days were extended to 100 or 200 years, the animal and plant life would have perished? Such a long interval without rest and comfort would have killed the animals. Men, too, would have continued to work on without stopping, with consequent peril to life. So if we think about it, if it did not follow the pattern in the way Allah created the certain number of days or nights, it would create problems for everyone in this world, not only as humans in affecting the number of hours we work, but also within the animals. It would affect the plant life. So we would not be able to have the same plants and the same nature that we have now. We would also have difficulty because if it was too many hours for us to be able to function, that would also be affected and even it can affect our survival. So our day cycle has to be equal, more time awake, less time asleep. With that change drastically, life cycles would change. That's right. So if we think about how much wonder there is in that Allah was able to know of all these details many, many years ago and have it so that our lives would be very balanced in the way they were created. Sometimes a lot of the times we take this type of thing for granted, but we do not realize how much planning and how much any changes of this would really affect us in different ways. So the second point that is also brought up in Hadith al-Mufassal, where it says, similarly, if the night had been prolonged equally, all species of living beings would have been prevented from moving about and finding nutrients with consequent starvation. The plant would have lost their vital heat, delayed, and perished. So in the first point that we looked at what would happen if the earth had been, if the number of days that we have would have been extended. If we had longer days, more time that we're awake. In this second point, we're looking at what would happen if our nights had been extended. If the maximum number of hours in the night was 18, 19, or 20, the consequences it would have for all the different creations in the world. So when this is being described, the Imam shows us and really helps us to visualize how that would mean that it would be very difficult to find nutrients and would maybe even result in starvation. We would not have food the way we have it because the plants would have lost their vital heat and would not have been able to survive. Right? Plants and animals so need their day cycles and it's important for them too. Right? So we really think about it, Allah was able to create a system that not only worked for humans, but also work for plants, animals. The same number of days and nights, the number of hours within them was able to work from all different organisms around the world. If there was a longer night, not be able to get their daily lives, we would be sleeping all the time, not go to work, school, work, university. Very good, that's correct. If we had nights that were very long, we would not be able to function the way we are and even be able to fulfill our responsibility to Allah in the way we have it. Allah has made it very easy in this world for us to be able to fulfill our responsibility because He has made all the resources possible and created this world so that we can all be able to fulfill our true purpose on this earth. That's right. Allah created plants and animals, and Allah created day and night. That's right. So now what we're actually going to do is we are actually going to take a look at a closer look at the universe that we have. Some of us might have, seen maybe pictures and everything, the universe, but we're going to take a look, as it's going to be in a different presentation that's basically going to show us the world in a different way. It's going to start off by showing us the world from the way it looks on Earth, and then we're going to be zooming out that same spot to take a look at what it would look like from a different perspective, from outer space. We're going to see what it's going to look like and how that's going to change our perspective and also allow us to see the beauty in a different way, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be in a different PowerPoint presentation that's going to be loaded. Going to show us. It's going to start off on the Earth next to a person, and it's going to keep zooming out to show what that same spot would look like when it's zoomed out within the universe. You're going to see it popping up on the screen right now. Right, it's very beautiful in the way colors are in the way that we have never looked at this way. That's right. There's also beauty in the Milky Way. Very good. It is awesome. That's right. So the name of this clip is Powers of 10. So if you notice the title of this, if you want to be able to see the full presentation of the way it's being presented in the YouTube clip, if you go to YouTube and you type in Powers of 10, the way it's done over there, you'll actually be able to see a YouTube clip that's going to go into more details about this. Within this presentation, we're going to just look at a few points, but if you want to see the full YouTube clip, you can do that, which is about 10 minutes in length. That's right, so you can search it. That's something you can search up after the webinar if you're interested. This clip starts off by having two people, a simple image on this earth. So if you look at the square where they're at, you can see they're having a picnic. If we think about it, what would happen if we took that place they're on and then we started zooming it out? What would it look like? If we zoomed it out to 10 meters, this is what the place would look like. You can see it's pretty similar, only because we've zoomed it out, they're looking a little bit smaller. What happens if we were now to continue the zooming? What would it look like? Let's take a look. If we now zoom this to 100 meters, we can see what it would look like. There's a very small little area that we can see in that square. You can see a bit of the roads around it and a bit of more of their surroundings where they were at. Now, what would happen if we continued to do the zooming out? What would it look like? Let's take a look. So now what we can do is we can actually see more details of the land they're at that same spot where they had the picnic. If we take this and we move this 1,000 meters up, this is what it would look like. So if you take where the square is, and then inside the square you can see a little square. That little square is marking that same picnic area that we had seen in the first slide. We're just taking it and we're just zooming it 1,000 meters up to see what this would look like. So we can see on the earth and still see different ways of the land on the earth. What would happen if we continued this zooming? If we continued this zooming, we can see now, we can actually see more of the shape of the earth where they were at. If we look at that big square that we have, and within it, and right in the center, you can see that little square. The little square is marking their picnic area, but we can see how much that has really changed. So if you take a look, you can see the big square. Look at the very center of that big square. There's a little square. That's that's a lot lighter in shade. The very middle. And this is what it would look like if 100,000 meters up we had went. And now we can see more of the shape in the earth based on the way it's been zoomed. So now we're going to continue to see what would happen if we continue the zooming. Now 1 million meters, this is what it would look like. The easiest way is when you do the YouTube clip, you'll actually be able to see more slides of it to do more of the zooming in and out, where you're going to be able to see more of the different markings. These are just a few of the key ones we're looking at. So this is one, so it would look like 10 to the power 6 meters, also known as 1 million meters. That same picnic area, what it would look like when we take that and we zoom it. Now 10 million meters, we can take a look, see basically just the earth. We've zoomed in so much, and now we're actually able to just see the earth by itself. If we continue the zooming, we're going to continue to see how it's actually going to lead us within the universe that we have. So we continue the zooming. We can see within 1,000 million meters where we're at. If we were able to see this high, we're basically not even able to see the earth. We can see the line that it is on. The earth is really, now we can see it's so small because we have gone up so high within the universe at this point that even the earth is appearing very small. So this line also marks the orbital line that it is on. So we're going to continue with the zooming, and we're going to see where it actually leads us to if we continue it. So now, if we take a look at that square, we can see even not only the Earth's orbital, but in other orbitals as well. This would happen if we were able to go up 1 million meters. What it would look like. So at this point, even the Earth, if we take a look, you can see there's a square, and then within that square, you see different orbitals that are there, and you see the sun in the middle. You can actually see, if you take a really close look, you can actually see a small square. It's a little bit light, but you can actually see the square. That square is actually marking the Earth, where the Earth would be around that orbital. So even at that point, we've zoomed in so much that even the Earth is appearing very tiny to us. So now 10 million meters. If we look at it, even the sun and the planets now are actually appearing very small to us. Before they were so big, but we've zoomed out so much within the universe that now even they are appearing very, very tiny to us. So 10 to the 13 meters. That's right, we have zoomed out so much that we cannot see the picnic, the grass, the oceans, the land. Now we cannot even see the Earth anymore. That's right. We're zooming out so much that everything, even the sun, is no longer looking big to us at all. So let's see what would happen if we continued seeing more of the universe. What would happen? If you take a look at it now, look how different it looks. We can now barely see where the sun is, the orbital. We've zoomed so much, and then now we are 100 million meters, or 10 to the power 14 meters, with the same spot. This is the same picnic area. We have the square. How much it's looking from this perspective. Now, anyone have any guesses of what would happen if we still continue this? What it would look like? Do we think it's going to now continue to look the same, or does anyone think it's going to look different, that same area that we've looked at? Okay, that's a good guess. Look the same. So it looks like most people are thinking that we've been zooming out so much to see the universe, and now it will look the same. Let's see. Is there any other changes that would even be possible at this point? Oh, you can see it's very different now. In 1 million light years, you can have, this is actually what the world would look like, the universe. You can see it's very different from even what it looked like before we had it, where you could see it like this. But actually now, in 1 million light years, this is actually what it would look like. Just different. The first time I saw this slide, I was also surprised at how much it keeps changing every time we are able to see more of the universe and what it would look like from different distances that we are at. It's truly amazing the way Allah has created the universe, and this clip does a beautiful job at helping to create this perspective, starting at a very simple level and then really showing us the different changes it can go through. So now, in 100 million light years, this is actually what the universe would look like. Even this is very surprising from what it looked like in the previous one. Before, in 1 million light years, it might think to us that there are no more changes that could actually take place in the universe. But if we really look at it, there's still a big change in what it would look like in 100 million light years, or 10 to the power of 24 meters. Keeps changing. This is so wonderful in the universe. Because sometimes if we think about it, the way we think of the universe, maybe just the Earth, the different planets along their orbitals, and the sun in the middle. We sometimes don't look at the universe through this perspective and how much beauty there is and how much different perspectives that can change the way we see the universe, which is really, really amazing. That's right, you can't even see the light. We can't see the light, we can't see the Earth, and we can't see the planets, which is really nice. So if you want to go into more details and even viewing more of the different distances, and maybe even being able to pause and compare more of them, I would encourage you to take a look at the YouTube clip of Powers of 10, and that will really allow you to see the full presentation in even more detail if you'd like to do. That's right. At this point, you can barely even see the stars that are in the sky based on how much moves out. And if we take a look at it, if we are able to look at like maybe even thousands of millions of light years, Allah would even know what that would look like. So for YouTube, you go to the Powers of 10. Those of you that want to look at the full clip, it's about 10 to 11 minutes. This is what you would type in YouTube. You would type in Powers of 10, and then in brackets 1977, and that would lead you to this clip. If you want to make a note of it, that is basically what you would do to be able to see this in more detail and to be able to pause and forward to see this. And what if you happen to be able to do this, at the end of the presentation, if you want to look at more of the beauties within this YouTube clip, it actually starts to do the opposite. After you've seen everything within the universe, the next part that this clip does that we unfortunately don't have time to look at is it starts to zoom in to the person that is in the picnic and go detail within the cells of his skin. Instead of going up in the universe, it's going in detail in the cells, his body, of its skin, to the different electrons, protons, neutrons. So actually start to do the opposite. and then go down into the person and the skins and the cells. So that will also be able to help to give you more appreciation for the wonderful creation of Allah, even within our cells, within our body, which is really nice that this clip does. So half of it focuses on the way we looked at in the universe. The other half of the clip actually does the opposite and going back on the earth and looking at the cells within that person and the picnic and going in the other direction. Wonder which one will be more interesting, zoom in or out. That's true. It will be interesting to see which one will be more interesting. I think this will be fun to discover and really help us to be able to understand more about the wonders of Allah, which is so wonderful. So since this is our last session, one of the questions I have for all of you is, if you were to share one point from the course that we've been having for the 3 weeks that you found the most interesting and one that you could apply within your daily lives, what point would that be from this course that we've done? The reflection question for all of you to think about. One point from this course from this 3-week course on the Nahjul Balagha Khutbah that we looked at that you thought was really interesting and that you'd like to apply in your daily life, what would that be? Anybody want to share their answers? That's right, Allah created everything. He's an amazing designer of everything. Change the perspective of how you look at things. That's right. Right, it's beautiful. Even the smallest of things, how much beauty there is. Good, the mountain climbing challenge, excellent. And we had wonderful submissions of the mountain climbing challenge as well that were done really well. Very wonderful. Right, Allah made everything work together. That's right, appreciate everything Allah has created. That's right, because sometimes within our life, there's a lot of things that Allah has given us that we often take for granted. So hopefully this course has helped you to be also able to appreciate what Allah has given you. Look at an egg, the colors, the texture Allah has created. Take time to realize, analyze things. Very good. I think it's very important. Excellent. Respect Allah's creations and be thankful even if it's small. Very good. Appreciate and thank Allah for His blessings. That's right. Seeds are so beautiful. That's right. Especially we were able to see more of that last week when we read the story about the seeds. So based on the responses I'm seeing, we appreciate some of the creations of Allah. What are some ways we can implement that within our daily life to make sure we make it a point to be able to appreciate and thank Allah? Anyone have any guesses? Could that mean for people maybe after Salah, maybe thanking Allah for everything He's given, keeping a journal, and maybe every day at the end of the day, writing down all the different blessings that Allah has given us? How can we really implement this in our daily life on a practical level? In this course, I would want to slow down and reflect and appreciate blessings. Very good. Excellent. You're welcome. So I would encourage you all maybe every day set aside some time to reflect on your day. Reflect on the different blessings that Allah has given you within the world. It could be maybe the weather. It could even be as small as maybe even looking out the window and maybe even seeing beautiful bird pass by, or even the way the wind blows on the trees. Take a look at even the small things that Allah has given us and realize how profound and big they are in the way they have been created. So it's really important for us to make it a point every day to make time in our lives to appreciate what Allah has created for us. That's right. Can read Quran, recite, take time for our daily lives to find something that Allah created. That's right. Even if every day we were able to take a time to just spot one creation, how wonderful that would be and how much we would actually be purifying our souls and becoming better people, which is our goal for everyone. Right? Thank Allah every day for the creation He has given us. Very good. Being thankful at all times. Excellent. Really good points. Very good. Even now that you all have the slides, now you also have an opportunity to go back, and if there's any part of it you want to take more time to reflect on, you're also able to do that. So what I'm going to do now is this presentation and the slides I'm actually going to be sharing with you. So if you would like to then go back and also take a look at them to continue the personal reflection, you are able to do that. On the chat box, I'm going to be adding in the slides that we just looked at for you to be able to get a copy of. So the first one is going to be the PowerPoint presentation that we looked at first, that you can take a look at and download. The link is right now in the chat box. You can take it and you can download it. Alternatively, if you are unable to do it from within the chat box, you also have the option of being able to download it from the Academy of Learning Islam website, where the slide presentation will be posted. If it's not on the website yet, it will be posted soon. So you can take that and you can save it where you will be able to access it. And then you can also access the Powers of 10, the clips we looked at. Best link will be if you get it from YouTube, the Powers of 10. And share that link with you where you can actually download it from. That link, I think, was shared by someone earlier as well. The Powers of 10 presentation. I would really encourage you to go and even take a look at the second part of the Powers of 10. And if you have any feedback from the course that you'd like to share, any comments, any suggestions for future courses, things you like, feel free to send me an email on your comments you have about the course. Also, anybody that would like to share with me their answers from the mountain climbing challenge, you are able to do that as well. PowerPoint is failing. Should be able to load. Reload it one more time. If you're not able to get it in this one, then it will be loaded the Academy of Learning Islam website where you'll be able to download it. So you can try that one. It should work. If not, as I mentioned, it will be uploaded on the website soon where you can get it from. You can try that link. It should work. This link you should be able to access. I would love to hear your feedback from the course as well, so feel free to tell me what you thought, and hopefully throughout these 3 sessions you have learned a lot and gained more of a higher appreciation for everything Allah has given us and all the wonders within creation. Inshallah, look forward to all of you participating in future courses that we have as well. So the second link doesn't work, so it should work when it's uploaded on the Academy of Learning Islam website, if you're not able to do that. Otherwise, if you want it very soon, you can always send me an email, and I can send it to you very soon as well. Thank you very much for your attentiveness and your participation throughout the 3 courses, 3 sessions that we had, because without it, we would not have been able to have such wonderful sessions that are interactive and where we are able to learn a lot. So thank you very much for attending, and inshallah look forward to seeing you in future courses.